This is question 16 of exercise 8C. In this video guide, I will be going through how you can solve this question. Question 16 wants us to use the map below to answer the following questions. And it says that you can use a ruler to measure the approximate distances between any two places before finding the actual distances from the given scale. So they give us a map with various locations actually plotted out in dots. And they give us a scale. So a little bit more about reading this scale. Okay, so we have 0 to 60 and we have a kilometers here. Okay, so if you actually were to use your ruler to measure this distance using a ruler, that distance would represent 60 kilometers on this map. Okay, so if I were to actually enlarge or reduce the size of this map along with the scale, if I do the enlargement or the reduction proportionately, I should still be able to get a decent scale where I can compare the relative distance between 2 points on the map. So an example, so if I were to want to find the distance between, say, Kuantan and Malacca, what I'll do is to take a ruler. Okay, so you have to use a ruler to draw this and join the two places together. Okay, so you have to use a ruler and join them. Then you can use your ruler to actually measure this distance between Malacca and Kuantan and have that distance placed against the scale, and that will give you the actual distance between these two places. Okay, so let's go on to the questions. Part 1 wants us to express the scale of the map in the form 1 over n, where n is an integer. So what you have to do is to measure. Okay, take your ruler and measure. You can take something simple. So just take a ruler and measure this distance here. Okay, so your distance on your ruler versus 60 kilometers, that will be actually your map scale. Okay, so in my case, when I measure this, I got 1 cm. So on my ruler is 1 cm. So 1 cm is to 60 kilometers for me. So I need to change them to the same units. So kilometers to meters to cm. I will have this. Okay, so if I want to change the scale in the form 1 over n, so therefore my scale of the map would be 1 over 6 million. For part 2, we want to estimate the actual straight line distance. There is a typo here, it should be a straight line distance between Singapore and Kuantan. So like the example that I've given previously, if I want the actual distance between Singapore and Kuantan, I will need to take a ruler, join up the 2 points representing Singapore and Kuantan. Okay, of course this is an estimate because well, Singapore is not just this dot here. Okay, so if we are this whole island, I'm just representing it with a particular point. Okay, and Kuantan is not just this particular point here, but rather I'm using this point as an estimate for where Kuantan is. Okay, so the actual distance. Okay, so I will take my ruler to measure this distance, and I will use the scale that I have derived in part 1 to find. That is one way. Another way would be to get this distance in using a ruler, and then I will place my ruler against this scale here to get the actual distance. Okay. So if I were to do that on my textbook, I get 5.2 cm. Okay, so 1 cm on the map represents 60 kilometers from what I have found in part 1. So 5.2 cm will simply be 5.2 times 60, which is 312 kilometers. So the straight line distance between Singapore and Kuantan is 312 kilometers. Let's look at part 3. How much would it cost to hire a taxi to travel from Malacca to Kuala Lumpur if the taxi fare is 60 cents per kilometer? Now for part 3, they want us to find the cost of hiring a taxi to travel from Malacca to KL. So I'm looking at this. Okay, so I will need to first find the distance between these two. So again, using your ruler, drawing the 2 points up, calculate the distance, which is how many kilometers. Then each kilometer is 60 cents. That should help you find the cost of hiring a taxi. For part 4, they want us to calculate the time taken for a car to travel from Batu Pahat to Port Dickson if its average speed is 60 kilometers per hour, giving your answer in hours and minutes. So for part 4, I will consider these two locations. Okay. Now, if I were to draw a straight line between the two, okay, it's just an estimate. Okay, I can use this straight line. I can also choose to say that it travels along the coast. You can travel along the coast. So you can also estimate the distance along the coast. If you feel that by drawing a straight line, they are actually traveling on water instead of a car. Then use that distance to calculate the time, given the average speed of the car is 60 kilometers per hour. So you can do that using DST. For the last part, a train takes 4 hours to travel from Johor Bahru to Segamat. So they want us to find its average speed, giving your answer in kilometers per hour. So I will link these two now. Again, find the estimated distance. So once you have the distance, you have the time, you are able to also use this to find the average speed in kilometers per hour. Okay, so as you can see, parts 3, 4, and 5 are variations of what they can ask you, but the main question is you have to be able to use the map to find the estimated distance between two of the stated places. So this is for question 16.